Fpyq. Chapter 4. Osmantha's Fragrance. On her third day of marriage, Nikan returned to her paternal family's estate, Yuè, and her other dowry maidservants following along. As Yuè learned of this, a bit of envy sparked in the pit of her heart. Yunruo had stayed behind, coincidentally receiving an invitation from Huan in the forecourt. His eyes shined with excitement as he studied it. And it caused him to miss Yuè's piercing gaze. The premise of the invitation was as followed: to admire a painting with Huan. Noticing her master's unbottled excitement, Yuè went for a few words of caution. Wait until eldest miss returns and ask her what she thinks. Why? Her lips twisted into a frown. Are you still unable to see it? We don't have a good relationship with that secondary consort and Huan is her elder brother. Naturally, he won't have any good intentions toward you either. Not necessarily. Young Master Ji's calligraphy is beautiful, so he must be a decent person. Yuè had the impression she had been rolling her eyes too often recently. Before she could respond, Yunruo had already asked her for a set of clothes fit for the outside. Because of the hot water incident, Yuè still held disgust toward eunuch Yunbao. This time, since it would be her master leaving the suite, she had to choose a respectable servant as an escort. Yuè searched for eunuch Jixiang to tell him the situation. He appeared decent enough as a person. As soon as Yuè finished speaking, eunuch Jixiang summoned a low-ranking eunuch called Xiao Litsi to escort Yunruo. Since entering the winter plum courtyard, this was Yunruo's first time going outside. The prince estate was large, the inner courtyard consisting of only 1/3 the entire space. A river separated it from the forecourt, and a large drill hall sat in the latter. Huan lived alone in the guest quarters. Yunruo glanced at the sign hanging above the main doors, which read Beautiful Forest. Not long after, a low-ranked male servant pushed the doors open and paid respects to him. Our master is awaiting you. Once Yunruo stepped foot within, he observed the courtyard with wide eyes. Although it wasn't as large as his sister's, that its master took extreme care of it was apparent. There were even grapevines hanging over carefully placed trellis. Under such trellis sat a rocking chair. A tall man watched Yunruo from afar. He waved his hand, beckoning the younger male over. Yunruo observed the man's smile. All of a sudden, he felt slightly happy. Huan was 22 this year. Unlike his younger legitimate sister's famous good looks, his brand of beauty was more elegant, more refined. His eyes were narrow yet watched others with a gentle gaze. As Yunruo approached him, he felt slightly awkward. Huan wore the attire of a scholar and, like himself, did not have his hair up in a crown. Instead, his hair was tied low, the hairband a light shade of lilac. As if it were only natural, Huan grabbed Yunruo's hand, leading his guest into the house. He personally poured the tea. In these past few days at the prince estate, have you come across anything you're not familiar with? Said Huan soft and gently. Yunruo blinked. Cautiously, he said, I've had no issues. Thank you, older brother Ji, for inviting me. Older brother. That's great. I don't have such an obedient and sensible younger brother like you. Huan gestured for Yunruo to come closer. His main purpose of today was not to admire paintings with a partner. Rather, he was curious about the person that Count Xiang's estate had sent. Was this an enemy or someone who could become a friend? He simply needed to observe Yunruo longer in order to find out. But the more he looked at Yunruo, the more he felt that further consideration was needed. Yunruo sized up Huan's house. His desk was large, various brushes, a stack of thick rice paper, and a few books bound together laying on top of it. Older brother Ji's calligraphy is beautiful. Sometimes, fate was full of wonder. Whenever Yunruo looked at Huan, he felt pleasant. And Huan would be lying to say he didn't feel a bit fond toward this well-behaved young man. He rose to his feet. Searched for his copybook of calligraphy for Qi Yunruo to observe. Noticing that the teen refrained from drinking tea, he asked, "Do you dislike it?" "No, it smells very fragrant. I'm just afraid of burning my tongue." Before Ji Huan had realized it, he smiled. "If you're afraid it's too hot, then just put the cup down. Come here." Qi Yunruo obeyed, curious about the copybook. Ji Huan had kept several examples from famous experts. "I can see that these are amazing," said Qi Yunruo, "but I can't tell by exactly how. What do you usually do?" "I'm bored every day, so what does older brother do to pass time?" For a moment, Ji Huan was unsure how to describe his schedule. That although he was a guest of the estate, he was quite busy most days. Other than collecting the calligraphy and paintings of famous experts, he also imbued his emotions into his own calligraphy and paintings, perused many books, and studied a plethora of articles on current political issues and suggestions to the court. The prince estate possessed a huge library, but these books were unsuitable for Qi Yunruo. Staring at a bookcase, Qi Yunruo asked, "Does older brother want to take the imperial examination?" After a moment's hesitation, Ji Huan nodded. He sat down on a chair, a bitter smile gracing his lips. "I am the eldest illegitimate son of my family. Since childhood, I wanted to pass the imperial examination. The last time I took the exam, my birth mother had passed away. After that, I refrained from taking the exam for a year and my legitimate mother and sister convinced me to come to the prince estate. Although outsiders aren't clear about this matter, the truth will soon come out. Older brother is quite ambitious," said Qi Yunruo. Through the grapevine he had heard that the two young masters of Count Xiang's estate were preparing for the same exam. Once the eldest young master Qi Yunchen finished his, the countess would have Count Xiang write a proposal to the emperor, asking him to announce that son as the count's heir. Furthermore, to arrange a good marriage for Qi Yunchen. Count Xiang's family held the position of count for 3 generations, and received this title through military achievements. The current count had secured the border for many years. Now, he controlled the capital's garrison. His legitimate eldest son was adept with the pen and sword. However, because the border had been peaceful for a long time, Qi Yunchen chose the path of a civil official. The count's second son, Qi Yunying, was not good with his studies. If he did not pass the exams this time, Count Xiang would find him a position as an imperial guard. Ji Huan said, "Prince Chun is an ambitious person. I don't wish to be overshadowed, to feel ashamed of my lacking self." Vaguely understanding what Ji Huan meant, Qi Yunruo put some more thought into it. In the end he said, "Older brother will definitely get what you desire." Ji Huan shook his head. He still had such a long-cherished wish. However, Qi Yunruo was a dowry escort no matter how one put it. This would follow him for the rest of his life. Because Qi Yunruo would have his noon meal here, Ji Huan happily had people prepare a table for a fine feast. 4 servant girls carried the dishes into the room. Among those was something special. Osmanthus wine, sweet and spicy to the taste. This was Qi Yunruo's first experience with alcohol, and with just a sip, he felt his belly warm. A very comfortable sensation. Count Xiang's estate. In order to meet the Count Xiang's family, Li Chen personally accompanied Qi Nikan to her paternal family's home. Since it was the Count's day of rest, he was present for this occasion as well. Count Xiang did not have any brothers and his family did not have many members. For that reason, the males occupied only one table. The Count, his 2 sons, and the prince. On the other side of the screen divider sat Qi Nikan and the women of Count Xiang's estate. With rapt attention, the countess listened to her daughter explain in detail her first few days at the prince estate. Her eyes reddened as she reminded Qi Nikan to eat more. Then the second young miss of Count Xiang's estate, Qi Dangxia, rose from her seat. She gently said, "I will toast eldest sister a cup." "Congratulations to eldest sister." Qi Nikan's response was faint. Thank you, younger sister. Following that, the 6-year-old fourth young miss, Qi Rongxiu, was unwilling to be left out. I also toast eldest sister. Qi Nikan smiled as she lifted her cup, tapping it against her sister's. Little sister is very obedient. Eldest sister, is the Prince estate a lot bigger than ours? Is there a lot of things we've never seen before? Qi Nikan glanced at the birth mother of Qi Rongxiu, concubine Bai. Hummed in approval. Tell mother to bring you over someday. You'll have to be obedient. Qi Rongxiu nodded. I'm obedient. A few days ago, mother praised me. Qi Nikan smiled and did not respond. Concubine Bai and Qi Dangxia's birth mother, concubine Lu, stood next to each other. Concubine Lu was extremely beautiful. Whenever the countess laid eyes on that beauty, her heart burned with anger and she turned around. Out of sight, out of mind. Additionally, concubine Liu's family was respectable and clean. Its status wasn't humble and as such, she wasn't as timid and anxious as her colleague, concubine Bai. She said in a generous manner, this concubine notices that eldest miss seems happy. How is third young master faring in the prince estate? As soon as those words left concubine Liu's lips, Countess Xiang's smile froze, and she sent a glare towards the woman's way. But Qi Nikan was prepared. Once I return to the prince estate, I will definitely let third younger brother know of your concern. I'm afraid that he is unaware of your care for him. Concubine Lu smiled and did not answer. Meanwhile, Count Xiang used his status as father-in-law to speak familiarly with the prince. Unlike their father, Qi Yunsan and Qi Yunying were tense as they sat there, mainly viewing the scene. Noticing their stiff expressions, Li Chen smiled. Only outsiders address me as prince. We are family, so the two of you can just call me brother-in-law. The two dared not, and tense they stayed. A slight smile spread across his lips as Count Xiang watched his two sons. But for some reason, the figure of another person suddenly flashed before his eyes. His smile dimmed. Fortunately, the image disappeared as soon as it had appeared, and once he saw his eldest son and Li Chen conversing again, the uncomfortable emotions in his heart vanished. After finishing their meals, Count Xiang followed Li Chen to their performance field, his two sons trailing them. Qi Nikan continued to relay the events in her new home to her mother. That consort Ji is very arrogant. My child has suffered. She gave birth to the prince's eldest son. Naturally, she has a reason for her arrogance. Countess Xiang scoffed. I heard that child isn't healthy. Perhaps. Mother, be mindful of your words, said Qi Nikan, frowning. Yesterday I entered the imperial palace, and Her Majesty, the Empress mentioned that child. She said that the Emperor would bestow him a name. Perhaps there will be an imperial edict in the coming days. Countess Xiang clenched her jaw. It's just an illegitimate child. Yet he even has the privilege of the Emperor personally naming him. That secondary consort is certainly arrogant. Don't worry, Mother. So, what if His Majesty bestows him a name? His identity is low to begin with and the prince has dragged on the process of naming him superscript 3. That must be why the Emperor stepped in. You can tell how much the prince likes this child by how he treats it. A moment of silence as Countess Xiang ran over her thoughts. Once you give birth to a legitimate son, then I will no longer worry. What if you tell the prince that you will raise the child instead? Didn't that tertiary consort Li ask you to raise her daughter? A somewhat dissatisfied expression flashed across Qi Nikan's face. Mother, I don't want to raise other people's children. Countess Xiang sighed. You're young so you are unaware of this tactic. If you raise children from a very young age, they will see you as their parent and be close to you when they grow older. Then, once you have children on your own, those other people's children will assist them. Then Countess Xiang went on a bit of a tangent. Did that boy cause you any trouble? Third younger brother has been quiet these past few days. The prince does not have any intention toward him. Countess Xiang nodded. Then I'm relieved. After that, the topic of conversation shifted to managing the prince estate. Countess Xiang's expression grew unhappy. I heard from Granny Song that she isn't sure where General Manager Cheng's loyalty lies. It probably isn't with you. If not, then why did she fail to proactively talk to you about managing the estate? She's someone the prince trusts. Perhaps you should ask the prince directly for the managing power. You are the female master of the estate, after all. Qi Nikan thought for a moment. She hesitated to say, I think I should figure out how to get out of this mess myself. Ever since her wedding day, Prince Chen had been chivalrous and treated her with respect. However, she felt there was a lack of closeness, as if a wall had sprung out between them. The rest of their conversation consisted of Countess Xiang doing as mothers should, nagging her daughter to take care of herself. Once evening drew near, Qi Nikan bid her parents goodbye and went home with Li Chen. Since Li Chen had stayed in the Count estate for a whole day to give her face, she felt grateful toward him. When they returned, Li Chen said, I'll head to the study first. The princess consort can freshen up as she wishes. Qi Nikan saluted him, and left on a palanquin toward her residence. Several of Li Chen's guests had stayed in the forecourt in the past. Some of them were his strategists. Others were famous experts in their field. Some came in groups, and some were knowledgeable in ruling a country. Li Chen was a prince that had already come of age. Not to mention, he was one of the few princes from the legitimate line. Other than indulging in the matters of the heart, his world was saturated with many things of importance. Li Chen dismissed his servants to travel by himself. As he walked, his thoughts were unending. In the evening, the lights around flickered. It was springtime, the path before him full of flowers in bloom, still carrying a sweet fragrance. His ears suddenly caught a strange sound. Quickly, Li Chen lifted his gaze from the flowers at his feet. In the heart of the bloom sat a person. His clothes a dull grey, his eyes lightly shut. This person kept rubbing his eyes. It appeared he had just awoken, and looked around in a daze. Li Chen approached him, and as he did, could smell the lingering scent of osmanthus wine. It took Qi Yunruo some time to realize there was someone else besides him here. He shook his head. But as soon as he tried to get up, his knees collapsed beneath him. Yet his head did not hit the ground. Instead, a hand cushioned the back of his head. Qi Yunruo widened his eyes, studying the face of the person above him. I seem to have lost my way. Chapter end. Fpyq Jiang. Chapter 5. Jihuan. After staying at the Winter Plum Courtyard for an entire month, Li Chen moved back to his own residence. And during that month, Qi Yunruo had often visited Jihuan for a chat. Qi Nikan cared not about his trips. On the other hand, Nanny Song did not fail to make her own opinion known repeatedly. This time, she mumbled into Qi Nikan's ear, "Third young master is always at the forecourt. Could he be trying to seduce His Highness?" Hearing similar words so often, Qi Nikan naturally felt uncomfortable, heart twisting within her chest. Qi Yunruo's purpose was clear. That she knew. To hold the prince's affection during her pregnancy, so that his heart wouldn't sway to another consort in that time. That said, she did not inform Qi Yunruo about the plan yet. As long as she could use her brother, there was no point wasting time talking about it. However, that didn't mean she would allow him to seduce the prince out of his own volition. In the estate, Qi Nikan wasn't the only one plagued with distress. Since Li Chen had accompanied Qi Nikan for a whole month, secondary consort Ji experienced the bitter tang of loneliness. As such, she wouldn't pass off a chance to give her rival some trouble. Because Qi Nikan had recently married in, to assert her dominance and reign in control of the concubines, she ordered them to pay her respects every morning, half an hour after Li Chen left her residence for morning court. At first, there weren't any issues. The concubines paid respects and saluted accordingly. But today was different. Today, secondary consort Ji personally delivered Chinikin's monthly allowance. Normally, the main wife of a large and established family would manage the estate's finances and send the monthly allowances to each concubine. Secondary consort Ji usurped that role. She sashayed her way toward Chinikin. Her bow was shallow, failing to match the respectful manner in which she spoke. His Highness has a message for the princess consort. The ledger will stay in this concubine's hands, and the princess consort will receive a monthly allowance of 6 kilograms of silver. A beautiful smile graced her lips. Because this concubine did not want to waste time, rather than running a double trip, this concubine will give the allowance after paying respects. In the blink of an eye, Chinikin's hands clenched into fists, knuckles glowing white. Long nails left behind red crescents on her palms. Her expression did not change as she slowly said, "Secondary consort Ji surely must have been troubled." However, the other woman merely smiled once more. Such a thing is something this concubine should naturally do. Secondary consort Wei also had something to say. Consort Ji has in fact gone through much trouble for this. Not to mention, she has to diligently take care of the little master while managing the estate, both inside and out. Your Highness, the princess consort, should not mind her too much. Consort Ji smiled but did not respond. Of the tertiary consorts, only tertiary consort Li received Li Chen's watchful care due to her giving birth to a daughter. Although the imperial palace had bestowed all 4 tertiary consorts to him, their statuses were humble. As the ones higher up on the hierarchy fought, they uttered not a single word. Yet this wasn't the case for all of his concubines. Seeing a chance to align herself with a higher power, a very low-ranked concubine, surnamed Ying, stood from her seat in the back. She bowed. Secondary consort Wei's words are reasonable. Although this lowly one is ignorant, this lowly one still knows that the managing power should be with the mistress of the estate. Whether the family is big or small. In the past, secondary consort Ji had this privilege. However, His Highness has already married the princess consort for 1 month. Shouldn't she be the one managing the estate now? Tertiary consort Li stoked this flame. Younger sister Ying said it correctly. This lowly one also agrees. In no time at all, secondary consort Ji's face turned a shade of green. She slowly said, "This concubine understands the 2 younger sisters' reasoning." However, the prince was the one who let this concubine manage the estate. If this concubine suddenly yields it to the princess consort, this concubine is afraid she will disappoint His Highness. At the end, everyone scattered unhappily. Expression frigid, Chinikin picked up a small white porcelain vase, one that had been made in the past dynasty. And she tossed it to the floor. Once the sound of shattering porcelain rang, Li Yubai knelt on the ground to pick up the shards. Nanny Song's face was shrouded by anger. What's consort Ji's intention? She purposefully picked a fight with you. Chinikin closed her eyes and thought. A moment later, she said, "Summon Nanny Cheng." Yes. Meanwhile, consort Ji neither rushed nor took her time leaving, holding the hand of her maidservant, Pei-er, for support. Next to her was consort Wei, whose smile did not quite meet her eyes. Older sister is amazingly arrogant. Consort Ji glanced at her. Not a word left her lips. Brushing her fingers against her flowing pearl twin butterfly dangling hair ornament, consort Wei peeked over her shoulder. Concubine Ying looks like a normal person, but her heart actually hides intentions. Taking her time with her words, consort Ji eventually said, "She used to be a palace maid that had served His Highness back in the imperial palace. Even I can't compare." It didn't take long for them to reach the Frost Autumn courtyard. Then Pei-er carefully asked, "Why must Master steal the limelight, inspiring the princess consort's ire?" Mood pitch black, consort Ji shot the servant a scorching glare. "For 3 years, I've managed the estate for His Highness. Yet as soon as she married in, I have to hand her my hard-earned work on a silver platter? I refuse. Pei spared no time in kneeling and massaged her master's legs, too frightened to even say a word. Consort Ji smiled, cold enough to freeze. No matter how one puts it, in reality the position of secondary consort is just a concubine. Word flew by quickly in the prince estate. After Ji Huan learned of his sister's actions, his mood plummeted. His expression did not lighten even when Qi Yunruo once again came to visit. Not quite understanding the situation, Qi Yunruo asked, "Older brother Ji, are you feeling unwell?" Ji Huan sighed. "How has Her Highness, the princess consort, been these past few days?" Qi Yunruo lowered his head. "I don't know." Despite not forcing his sister to cease in her meddling, Ji Huan worried her actions would anger Li Chen. Ji Huan did not really like her to begin with, but in the end, they were on the same side. Having heard a little about the morning's events from Li Yisu, Qi Yunruo's eyes shone with curiosity. "How much is older brother's monthly allowance?" The question caught Ji Huan off guard. That said, Ji Huan knew the younger male had a pure and innocent personality, and thus did not have any hidden meaning beneath his words. He was generous with his answer. "I receive 1.5 kilograms of silver, but if I need more, then I can get more from the outside." Qi Yunruo kept his gaze low. He played with Ji Huan's paperweight that was the shape of a mythical beast. His voice was soft. "I don't have an allowance." Shocked, Ji Huan blurted, "None at all." Qi Yunruo nodded. An obvious gloom enshrouded him. "When I lived in Count Xiang's estate and still had an older female servant looking after me, I would receive 0.25 kilograms of silver a month. But after she retired, I didn't get anything anymore." Ji Huan wasn't stupid. It was obvious to him that someone with power had not liked the teen. The allowance had been given, but before it could reach Qi Yunruo, others had already nibbled away at it until nothing remained. Sitting down next to him, Ji Huan reached out to stroke his soft hair. 0.25 kg of silver is not enough. Just one book will cost that much. In 1 year, you would not be able to save much of anything. Qi Nikan's wedding had been a grand affair, red silk and crates of dowry for miles, yet Qi Yunruo had not a penny to his name. Ji Huan softly said, "If you ever need anything, let me know. I'll help you buy it." A smile slid across Qi Yunruo's lips. "I don't have anything that I want." Today had been the first day since Li Chen moved out of Winter Plum Courtyard. Where he would spend the night was at the center of every concubine's thoughts. Currently, Li Chen had 1 son and 1 daughter. A couple days ago, the emperor had bestowed his eldest son the name of Jing. This child would be the 3rd imperial grandson. On the other hand, his eldest daughter, whose mother had a low status, did not yet have a name. She was the 1st imperial granddaughter. Li Chen was the empress' firstborn son. However, it was the Empress Dowager who had raised him. The Empress' second-born son was the 4th imperial prince, and this year he would be 15 years old. Perhaps in half a year, he would move out into his own palace. Many years ago, the 1st imperial prince had been bestowed the title of Prince Jing, and his princess consort was born in Jiangnan, surnamed Shi. The 3rd prince was bestowed the title of Prince Qing and was not yet married. Li Chen's princess consort, Qi Nikan, was born in the Count estate, and even though Count Xiang's title had been passed down for only 3 generations, it was still renowned and powerful. Princess consort Jing was also from a large family renowned for many generations. Many members of her paternal family worked as officials. However, Prince Jing's birth mother was born a servant, and subsequently had a low status. It wasn't until a few years ago, when Prince Jing was bestowed his title, that the emperor had promoted her to the rank of imperial concubine. Only her paternal family supported her. Her maternal family did not. Needless to say, Li Chen was superior to Prince Jing in both birth and status. Imperial princes could have a total of 1 main consort, 2 secondary consorts, and 4 tertiary consorts. Seeing that those positions were already filled in Li Chen's harem, numerous families felt unhappy. In their minds, Li Chen was the most likely to be the next emperor. Now they had no chance to align themselves with him before his ascension. In the evening, after Li Chen returned home from his post, he went to the winter plum courtyard to accompany Qi Nikan for dinner. Then he returned to his own courtyard. His residence was in the middle of the prince's estate, and had 2 studies. The first was used to see guests and hold meetings. The second was a personal study, access restricted apart from himself. Li Chen's important texts were all stored there. His personal room was large, a side room on both the left and right. The gardens were well maintained too, with a small pond containing a few goldfish. Li Chen's personal eunuch managed the estate's forecourt. His name was Suji, and he was in his 30s. Calm and stable. As soon as Li Chen sat down by his desk, Suji relayed the estate's important events to him. Li Chen rubbed his forehead and slowly said, "What did Consort Ji say?" Suji knew better than to answer directly. It must have been difficult for the princess consort to stay calm. It really must have been hard for her. Tomorrow, should this lowly one inform Consort Ji properly? Li Chen shook his head. It's fine. Let's see how the princess consort handles this. Understood. This lowly one has another matter to mention. The eldest young master is living with Consort Ji. This slave heard that the princess consort has the intention of raising him herself. Those words stirred a bit of unhappiness within Li Chen's heart. He is still too young and is not easy to be taken of at the moment. Wait until he's at the ripe age to learn. At that time, I will bring him to the forecourt. Suji understood. Noticing that Li Chen wanted to rest, he went ahead and prepared for that. Although the Ink Lotus courtyard had several beautiful maidservants among the staff, Li Chen was not one to let those women who wanted to climb up his bed, serve him. He also did not have the habit of bringing his concubines to the forecourt for that purpose. His exhaustion was apparent from his voice. After 1 month of not attending to my post, the work has piled up. And I had to speak the whole day. Send over a eunuch who can give a hard massage later. Yes. Forget it. Bring me to Ji Huan so I can speak with him. Suji said, this lowly one understands. It was now completely dark outside. Suji lit up the surroundings with a lantern, Li Chen following behind. Meeting with Ji Huan always recovered his mood. Ji Huan had his own thoughts, but would not hide too much from him, allowing Li Chen to see his ambitions, his wants. After arriving at the guest quarter, beautiful forest, Li Chen shot a glance at Suji without saying a word. Light footsteps swiftly made their way to the door. Xiaoqi likes this. Today, his eyes would not leave it. You should find a good-looking box to place it in, and give it to him tomorrow. Li Chen blurted, who is Xiaoqi? Ji Huan nearly jumped on the spot. In a flash, he turned to the door and saw that it was half ajar. And that Li Chen was standing right outside. Snapping back to his senses, Ji Huan quickly made his way to the door, opened it all the way, and welcomed Li Chen in. He smiled. His Highness does not know? It's the princess consort's little brother, Qi Yunruo. In these past couple of days, he has come to play with me. Li Chen nodded, and a sound of acknowledgement left his lips. His eyes followed the paperweight that Ji Huan's servant, Yuè, held. He likes this. Ji Huan thought for a moment, and then said, he's still like a child. Likes things that resemble animals and dolls, and doesn't like ordinary things like brushes. Li Chen took the adorable and docile-looking paperweight from the maidservant. How can I take your things and give it to someone else? Suji, in the past I received a birthday gift of 12 zodiac ornaments. Choose a day to give them to him. This lowly one will do as told. Tomorrow the gifts will be sent to young Master Qi. Exhausted for the day, Li Chen did not have any desire to do anything else. He had only come to have a chat with Ji Huan. Ji Huan dismissed the servants in the room and brought in a kettle of high-quality tea, the Magian Er. Sitting on the side, he waited for Li Chen to speak. His rocking chair had been moved back inside the house in the evening, and Li Chen was currently sitting upon it. In his hand was a teacup, the tea not spilling even while he's rocking. Seeing that Li Chen would not answer, Ji Huan said, "Are your highness thoughts running amok?" Li Chen sighed. It didn't take long for Ji Huan to grasp the situation. Does it have anything to do with His Majesty allowing Prince Qing to attend morning court? Li Chen stared at Ji Huan. Why do you have such a keen eye? Your Highness, Prince Qing's ambitions have yet to reveal themselves, whereas, Prince Qing can no longer hold his in. His noble consort mother currently has the Emperor's affection. This mother and son pair's ambitions have already expanded to the skies. Your Highness needs only to wait and see who the Emperor appoints as Prince Qing's princess consort. Depending on that woman's family background, you can determine His Majesty's thoughts regarding Prince Qing. I'm not worried about Prince Qing. What's on my mind is Imperial Father's general attitude. The Emperor had never shown his bias toward any of the princes. He found, for the eldest and second princes, a main consort from renowned and powerful families. For the third prince, he nurtured him well with imperial tutors. For the fourth prince, he showered him with a lot of affection. Li Chen still had a few younger brothers that were very young in age. The Emperor treated those younger princes the same, rewarded them the same. Others were unable to see why the Emperor acted like so. Prince Qing was already 24 years old. Li Chen himself was 20 years old. His younger brothers would grow older each day. Li Chen turned his body to admire the paperweight in the shape of a mythical beast. White pebble jade glowed softly under the candlelight. Winter Plum Courtyard. Nanny Song slightly smiled. Looks like the prince is on your side. During today's dinner, he told those lowly people not to look down on you. But Qi Nikan arched a brow, unsatisfied. Why has His Highness still not mentioned the matters of managing the estate? Today she had spoken with General Manager Cheng, yet the latter only smiled and did not agree to anything. She still remembered the older woman's words. This lowly one is only in charge of supervising matters within the Winter Plum Courtyard. If I suddenly stick my hands into the whole estate's business, it would prove inappropriate. Qi Nikan stroked her flat abdomen. Do you think the prince will let me raise the eldest young master? A moment of thought. Nanny Song said, since tertiary consort Li spared no time in asking you to raise her daughter, we should not let her intentions go to waste. Once the young miss is brought over, it won't be long until the young master is brought here as well. And at that time, let's see what secondary consort Ji can even say. With that settled, Qi Nikan found her thoughts entering different waters, those concerning Qi Yunruo. It did not suit her own purposes for him to continue his trips to the forecourt. Because according to her mother's intentions, Qi Yunruo should only rely on Qi Nikan. If a person's power increases, they would no longer be easy to keep under control. However, in what way could she tie Qi Yunruo to her? Chapter end.